Hi everyone, today we are going to move on to a new chapter which is about money and business cycle. There are several models, but we will only focus on sticky price model. The course targets for this part are the understanding of imperfect competition, the optimal pricing and markup under imperfect competition, and then we are going to introduce the concept of sticky price. The reading for this part is textbook chapter 16. First, we start from the concept of imperfect competition. In the past, we focus on a basket of goods, and we just treat this basket of goods as the only thing that produces in the economy. But actually, in the economy, the basket contains so many different items, and these are different from each other. In other words, they are heterogeneous. So for these heterogeneous goods, actually, they would charge different prices. And the price of the basket basically is the sum of all the cost that we need to buy these items. For example, here, suppose the total cost to buy this basket is 1,350. And therefore, in the real world, actually, though we traces the price level in terms of the price level of the basket, but actually inside there are so many items. Their prices P1, P2, P3, P4, so on and so forth. They can change over time. Therefore, in the real world, there are so many heterogeneous goods. Somehow they are able to charge different prices, but somehow they are substitute for each other. So you can buy orange, more orange, less tangerine, or more tangerine, less orange. So now we want to focus on the demand for one item, J. So here it is corn. So what can affect the demand for this item? So first, consider now the basket price is $1,000 for the entire basket. And somehow the price of corn increases from 10 to 20. We assume that there are so many items in that basket. So if only one item changes the price, it will not change the basket price significantly. In other words, it means that given the fact that corn price increases from 10 to 20, supposedly the basket price will change, but we assume it's still 1,000. In this case, we'll know that the relative price of corn relative to the basket price is going to increase from 0.01 to 0.02. This ratio, relative price, reflects the fact that how much basket of purchasing power you need to sacrifice in order to buy one corn. So if this ratio, Pj over P, increases, it means that item J becomes relatively more expensive. When something becomes relatively more expensive, then the quantity demanded for the item should drop. So the first thing that can affect the demand for item J is basically the relative price of item J, which is Pj over P. When this relative price increases, then the demand for this item would drop. So if we try to draw these relationship on the graph, it would be a negative slope line. Negative slope line represents the fact that when item J becomes relatively more expensive, its quantity demanded would drop. There are other things that can affect the demand for this item. The second thing that can affect it is the total basket demanded, which is, we use notation YD, which actually represent the aggregate demand for the economy. So aggregate demand is the demand for the basket. If the total demand for this basket increases from one basket to 4 baskets in these cases, then of course, if there are more baskets that the economy is buying, and of course, then the demand for each item would definitely increase. So the second factor, when the total basket demanded increases, then the demand for each item J will increase as well. If we show that on the graph, it represents the fact that when the aggregate demand YD increases, then the demand curve for item J will move to the right, which reflects what we just said. When aggregate demand YD becomes larger, item J's demand would also increase. Now we want to understand optimal pricing and the concept of markup under imperfect competition market. To discuss pricing, we need to know the cost of production structure for the firm. We want to introduce the concept of real marginal cost of production. We start from the nominal marginal cost, which is the marginal cost capital MCJ for producer J. It is basically what we learned from the other courses. It's basically the nominal cost of producing one extra unit of output. And for this chapter, we'll use the concept real marginal cost, which is little case MCJ, which is the cost of producing one extra unit of output measured in the unit of basket purchasing power. So by definition, the little MCJ, real marginal cost, will be equal to nominal marginal cost divided by the price of basket, which is P. And there are factors that can affect the real marginal cost of production for each firm. The first thing that can affect it is the marginal productivity of labor for these producers. If the marginal productivity of labor is higher, which means that the firm has a more productive labor. In this case, for each time when firm wants to introduce production, he does not need to hire many units of labor since labor are more productive. So if when labor are more productive, actually it would save the cost of production for firm, which means the real marginal cost of production would drop. And another factor that can affect real marginal cost is the real wage rate. Because that the firm need to pay labor for production. So it's very straightforward. When the real wage rate goes up, then of course the cost of production goes up. In this case, real marginal cost would goes up. If we draw on the graph that the vertical line is the unit of baskets representing the marginal cost in real term, and the x-axis is the output for this firm, then suppose that the firm increases its production, so Yj increases. Of course, if he wants to increase production, he needs to hire more labor. So under this case, when more labor are hired, remember the marginal productivity of labor is decreasing when you hire more labor. So it would decrease the productivity of labor when you produce more. And remember the productivity of labor, when it decreases, it would increase your real marginal cost of production. Therefore, if we draw real marginal cost against the output level, it will be an upward sloping line. Now we are ready to discuss optimal pricing. So the vertical axis is the relative price in terms of unit basket. Actually, it can also represent the real marginal cost in the unit of basket. And we already discussed about for an imperfect competitive firm, he will face a negative slope demand line, YDJ. And also for this firm, he will be facing an upward sloping real marginal cost line. And for imperfect competition market, an imperfectly competitive firm, actually, his optimal pricing will be somewhere like this P star J over P that is higher than the marginal cost of production. So to understand that, we consider for this price level, we can see that the number of the units of a product he can sell would be Y star J. It is determined by the demand curve. For this price, you can only sell that much. Then now we want to calculate the profit for this firm for this period. So how much profit he can earn by charging P star over P. And we start calculate the revenue and the cost one by one. For the first unit of output, he can charge P star over P. So the green bar represents the revenue, real revenue from the first unit that he produced and sell. But for the first unit, he has to pay a cost. And the cost is described by the marginal cost of that unit, which is that little blue bar. So you can see that little blue bar is lower than the green revenue bar. So actually the first unit would generate a positive profit for the firm. How about continue production to the second unit? For the second unit, he still can earn the revenue as high as P star over P. And however, the second unit, the marginal cost of production for that unit is a little bit higher, which is this green bar, the second one. As we can see, the blue bar is still lower than the green one. So the second unit of production will still generate profit for this firm. If we continue to a third unit, the revenue, the green bar, is still higher than the cost of production for that third unit. So it still generates profit. And if we continue, so on and so forth, we will understand that actually by charging the price to be P star over P so that he can sell Y star unit of output, he will be able to obtain the total profit as what we see in this green area on the graph. This will be the total profit for the firm for this period. And in this graph, then we want to see whether this price is an optimal one. Of course, the firm can think about how about I charge a higher price to be P prime over P. But if the firm charge a price to be that high, then the firm can only sell Y prime unit. So with that price and the lower output unit, the total profit the firm can get actually would be this orange area. So now we need to compare the profit area of the green color one and the orange color one. So we can number them. There are three different areas, 1, 2, and 3. So we can see that if the firm increases its price from P star P to P prime P, he will lose area 3 and gain area 1. Lose 3, gain 1. But as you can see that the loss of 3 is larger than the gain of 1, so it is not a good deal to increase the price so high to P prime over P. Then how about decrease the price further so that he can sell more? If he decrease the price all the way to P prime over P, where the marginal cost curve intersect the demand curve, will that be a better choice? Under that price, he can sell more output to be Y prime J level. But under that price setting, how much is the profit? The profit, as we learned from the past, it will be this new orange area. Again, we can mark the difference of these two shaded areas by number 1, 2, and 3. And decrease the price from P star to P prime, basically the firm will gain the area 3, but he will lose area 1. As you can see, the loss is much larger than gain, so it is not a good deal either. Therefore, the optimal price must be somewhere in between. Okay. But the key point actually I want to point out here is that under imperfect competition market structure, the firm would have some market power, which would make the firm charge a price P star over P, Under that price, the output quantity Y star would give us a real marginal cost that is lower than the price. In other words, actually, when there is imperfect competition, the price that a firm charges will be some proportion of marginal cost of production. And normally, this proportion number m star will be larger than 1. And this m star represents the optimal markup for this producer J. So to put this in some kind of layman term, in reality, a lot of time, firms set a price just based on certain markup. For example, if the cost is $10, the firm may say that I would charge 3 times of the cost. Then in this case, the price would be $30. In this case, markup would be 3. So in reality, actually, a lot of firms doing markup optimal pricing. So I will summarize what we have for this part. Under imperfect competition, whenever firms set the prices, these prices will be higher than their marginal cost of production. In other words, markup in imperfect competition market is greater than 1. The last topic of this video is sticky price. Basically, based on what the price set up, we know that in reality, a lot of time, firm's pricing behavior is very straightforward. He simply put on a markup on the marginal cost of production. However, in the short run, it is very common that firms do not change their price. So we assume in the short run, this relative price, actually, it cannot be changed. In other words, we would say that prices are sticky in the short run. So if somehow the price has to stay at P star over P for this firm J, what happens if aggregate demand YD increases, if everybody suddenly wants to buy more basket? And to understand that, we know that based on what we learned earlier, when aggregate demand increases, basically the demand curve for each item will increase. So under this new demand curve, if the firm still sets the price to be P star over P, he actually can sell more unit if he wants to produce more. The unit he can sell now under this price would be actually Y prime units of goods. But the question is that even the firm can sell that many more units, then should the firm increase its production to Y prime J? It actually needs to be discussed because firm will not increase production simply because more people want to buy. Firm want to increase production only if it is profitable. So we have to see whether increase production from Y star to Y prime is profitable. So we start from increasing production 1 unit by 1 unit. That is marginally increasing his production. So if the firm increases production by 1 unit, he will earn the revenue equal to this green bar. And the cost of this extra unit of production would be this blue bar. As we can see that the blue bar is still lower than the green one, so actually the firm will earn extra profit by increasing his production 1 extra unit. How about extra second unit? If the firm increases production by another unit, as we can see, the green bar revenue is still higher than the blue bar cost. So the firm is still gaining more profit. If we continue the argument all the way through, we'll see that increasing production from Y star to Y prime actually will give the firm this extra green area of profit. And it is a positive profit increment. So the answer to the question would be yes. The firm would be happy to increase his production when he sees the demand increases due to aggregate demand increase. So here we will learn the second fact under this topic, which is that in the short run, when prices are sticky, The greater than 1 markup creates a profit margin to accommodate aggregate demand change. In other words, that in the short run, when prices are sticky, demand actually creates supply.